We only get one chance. Our mother needs our help. Do something. Anything.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the show that puts you in the driver's seat, in gear, here on Access Channel 7. I'm Joey Hadisbeck. Welcome to another great show. We have got lots and lots lined up for you tonight. Seeing as the weather was so beautiful outside today and there's a long weekend not too far off, we thought we'd send Barry out on a little automotive adventure and take a look at some RVs. He went out to Travel Land RVs, so we're going to see that later on. As well, we have got Test Drive back. Garth Stone is back with us to do that segment, and tonight it's going to be the Hyundai Accent that we are going to be taking a look at. Tonight as well, later on after the show, around 10:30 or so is usually when we get there, Boston Pizza, the North location, just kind of a little bit north of Walmart on the north end of Albert. Come on down and talk cars, automotive, bikes, anything you like. Hopefully we'll see you down at Boston Pizza. As well tonight, lots and lots and lots about some great looking cars. I'm going to introduce you to my special guests right now. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the show. Dave Irvin, thank you.
Thank you.
And Milt Radish, thank you very much for being on tonight. You gentlemen are with the Majestics Car Club. We're about, do the math, 8 days away from the show. Of course, you guys have been working on it for a number of months and trying to get it all together. And it's coming up next weekend. First off, let's talk a little bit about the show itself, when it starts next weekend.
Well, the show starts next weekend on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. It runs from 10 until 11 at night on Saturday. And then on Sunday it opens again at 10 and it runs till 5. Trophy presentations usually about 4 o'clock.
And public's welcome to come in right at 10, and I mean they can wander around all day if they like, right?
Wander around all day.
Doesn't shut down for supper or anything like that.
Doesn't shut down at all, no.
One thing, Milt, that you guys and I were just talking about is the charities that the show helps out throughout the year. A big part of it is raising some money and helping out the community.
Right. It's one of our major contributions to the show. We do our local charities from the people that support us around the community, so we tend to give most of the money back to that sponsorage.
Before you used to do it just to one charity, but you really spread that out a lot now, and you said that there were 3 different types of charities that you deal with and that you try and help out.
Well, we really believe in youth. That's part of it. We also believe in health. That's another major charity source. And we do believe in education as well. So we try to break it up into thirds and break it down that way.
Dave, 34th annual. Give us a little history. How did the show itself get started? Was it, and have you been around since the start?
No, I've been around for 25 years.
Yeah.
Seems like just yesterday. The show basically started from the members of the club who originated the club back in 1962. They just decided one day that they would like to have a car show, I guess based on the same as Saskatoon has with the Dragon Show, something for southern Saskatchewan, and so they started it up in the old Grain Show building, and then we moved to the Exhibition building, and now we're in Canada Centre. So
we took up a lot of space in there, yeah, definitely. About 150 entries, is that the number, or is that kind of the number that you go with?
Yeah, it's about 150. You know, we try and make it roomy enough for the spectators to walk around and see everything, of course. So we managed to get about 150, 152, something like that in the building, in both sides, the east and west, and a little bit in the show sale arena. But this year we're having Rory Allen in there.
Is that who's going to be in there?
Rory Elvis himself is coming out of retirement, and Rory Allen's going to be there doing shows all weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. We're very pleased about that. We welcome him.
No extra to see Rory. That's part of the admission.
It's part of the admission. Yes, we're very fortunate. It's all part of the admission, and Canadian Tire has kindly helped us bring Rory on board, and we're real happy.
What's nice, Milt, is that it's cars and it's bikes and it's a little bit of everything. There's old cars, there's new cars, there's race cars.
We try to have something for all auto enthusiasts of all ages, right from kids with carts right up to some older people appreciate the antiques because of the original car, the way they could remember them, and there's something for everybody.
We talked a little earlier about some of the different classes. Now there are awards that are handed out, and some guys are there for the awards, and you see year after year they've got all the trophies out. But it's nice to go and compete against someone else. And we talked about some, and we'll just bring them up. For example, street rods. What would incorporate? How would a car get into the street rod class? What would classify it?
Well, a street rod is an older vehicle, but it's really modified. It has altogether a different drive line. The body modifications, interior is quite different. In most cases, the top is lowered. It's painted a little more radically than it was originally. You wouldn't recognize the original car.
It's like that really beautiful, there was a beautiful purple car last year that was on a turntable, and I can't remember what type of car it was.
Ford.
But that would definitely fit into the street rod class?
Definitely.
So as well, there's classics. You brought that up. Is there a specific year that it becomes a classic?
It's usually around a 30-year sliding scale into a classic. Your 50s and 60s are your memorable classics, but the 70s are starting to catch up to that too. Cars are getting older.
You start to see even, I've seen some older, like 30s and 40s even cars in the show. Do you guys get a lot of applications for those older cars? Even on In Gear, we had Barry out in Earl Grey a little while ago, and he had talked to the gentleman out there that had all those classic old cars. Do you get the Model Ts in that?
Oh yeah, we get a lot of that stuff. That's what our club is basically really made up of, is pre-1949 vehicles, and we have a lot of the Model A's and T's and the 33, 34s and the 32s. Milt's favorite cars.
I was going to say, does Milt have a 32?
Oh, he's got a couple of them.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of that. You're going to see quite a few of those in the show this year. You're going to see a lot of the street machines, which are the 60s type of things, the classics, which is out of the 50s. You're going to see the antiques. We have some race cars. In fact, we have your race car.
Yes, we do.
We're fortunate enough to have that.
Yes.
It'll be part of the In Gear display.
Us and Glenn are going to be down with the show, and we're going to be actually out and about doing lots of interviews. And not next Thursday, folks, but the following Thursday, we're going to put a whole package together, an hour on the Majestics Car Show, so watch for that. And it is a little bit of everything. Lots of great-looking Harleys as well, I remember from years past.
I guess everything sort of is cyclical. Some years we get a lot of hot rods, some years we get a lot of antiques, some years we get a lot of motorcycles. This year we're going to have motorcycles, but it's not in the abundance that we may have had other years. We have some really nice ones coming in that we're very pleased with. We have some organizations with motorcycles, but not as many as other years. But we do have this year more street rods, so it's just
It just goes from year to year. All of a sudden, a bunch of guys build a bunch of vehicles maybe over the winter and then want to get them in the first show of the year.
Yeah, and that's usually the way it goes. Is we get a lot of new cars that haven't been seen before. This year we're fortunate. We're getting a lot of cars are coming from out of province. We're getting in quite a few out of the States this year. We're getting some out of Alberta, which doesn't usually happen with us. We're getting quite a few out of Manitoba, we're really pleased about, and these are real show cars. I mean, we're really pleased with some of the things we're getting.
Is it nice, Milt, this year? I think the last couple of years that I've been involved, there's been a couple of weeks span between yourself and the Dragons up in Saskatoon, but if Dragons is this weekend, Easter weekend, and you guys are the next weekend, so did that help the car count?
It does. It does. Some people, they travel to the Dragons and then next weekend they recycle in our car show, but it does draw a bit.
How many cars are you guys? Do you guys take some up to the Dragons, and usually we see a few of theirs down here as well?
We have 2 members up at the Dragons, and they reciprocate next weekend with theirs. We're heavily involved with clubs. There are a lot of clubs that participate in entering, and it's not only our show. We do summer events with these folks too, and we're kind of like one big family.
I know when I got my application, there's my application for the show, but then there's also the run as well. And sorry, my apologies, I can't remember the exact day of the run, but I think you're going out to Moose Jaw again this year? Or
No, we're going out to Craven World.
Craven World, that's it. I know it was Moose Jaw one year though, wasn't it?
It was Moose Jaw for many years, and then last year we moved it to Craven World, and to keep, I guess, be a little more local, and the club in Moose Jaw wanted to do something there, and we said, fine, you guys do that, and we'll do something else. So.
We've talked about runs on the show before. Basically, everybody kind of gets together here in town, and down the road you go.
In some cases, usually clubs and that will travel together. You know, sometimes some people will just go by themselves, you know, and that, and it's just a weekend of camping and comradeship and you know, show and shines and poker runs and things like that. And fun with cars.
And lots of great cars,
Fun
exactly.
with cars.
Customs is another class. What's gonna, if I'm making an entry, what kind of car do I have to have a custom? We happen to have a picture. We've got lots of pictures, folks, that we're going to get to. We're going to show you some of the specific entries that are in the show this year. So we'll just take a look at this one and show you that this is an example of a custom.
This custom is a 48 Hudson, and it's quite radically changed. As you can see, the doors are reversed. It's quite lowered. The roof is chopped. It has quite a few different body modifications and interior modifications. That's what really makes a custom a real clean, flowing vehicle.
So kind of similar to a street rod, I guess. Do the street rods have the bigger engines, the more power, and the customs really start to get into that kind of stuff?
Not necessarily, no.
A little bit of everything. It just depends which category you fall into.
You'll find a car is built like the personality of the person.
Okay.
You know, they're usually quite radically built, right from the chassis right to the paint.
Great. Folks, as I said, we've got lots and lots of pictures to show you of some of the cars that are going to be in the show next weekend. But for right now, as I said earlier, the weather was unbelievable today. Just a beautiful afternoon. We've got a long weekend coming up. And maybe you want to go do a little bit of camping. What we did is we sent Barry out on one of his automotive adventures, and it was to the Trevelyan Leisure Center. He's going to take a look at some RVs. So now it's time to go to Barry's Automotive Adventures here on In Gear. All right, well, we're just going to get that fixed up a little bit with some audio, because we've all seen what Barry looks like, and you know, it's nice to be able to hear him as well. So let's talk a little bit more about some cars. Actually, let's get into the next one, Dave. We'll take that one down, and we'll put up this great looking. To me, it looks like a Chevy. I'm bad for knowing. You guys were just rattling through these and writing years and numbers and models and everything down. So. Let's see what else we've got up here. That's just a beautiful car.
This is a 56 Chevy. It's a local car. It's been done up to resemble a car that would have been built in the 60s. He's brought it right down to the type of wheel they would have used in those days too. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece, and we're very pleased to have it.
It's a great two-tone. I like the. You know, you see a lot of the older Chevys. They leave them one color, but that looked really, really nice with the purple and the silver.
It's a custom paint job with some what they call some scalloping done to it.
Right.
You've heard of the flames and that. Well,
yes.
This is sort of the scalloping type thing done to it. We also get into some of the. Can you hold that? Some of these street machines. These are the cars that are more modified engine-wise than body-wise. This one has some body modifications just to clean it up, but it's mostly under its hood, if it had one.
If it had one on there, under the hood, yeah.
And the big tires on the back, and done up sort of like a race car, but it's driven on the street, and it's a very, very nice car.
It's got the center lines and the interiors on that. Do the guys if a guy's building a car like that, is he working on the engine and not all that concerned with the rest? I mean, the paint's going to look good as well, Milt, but do they care about the interior on those that much?
You bet they do. When you come to the show, you can actually view the interior. The doors are usually open, and they're usually just quite immaculate. If they're not immaculate and original, then they've been redone to original state.
They get some older pictures. I know a lot of guys go out and they try and find, they ask around and see who owned it and try and get some older pictures, trying to bring it back to the way that it was when it was original. They do a lot with that, I would imagine.
Well, not so much in the street machines, but they do in the restorations of the antiques and that. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, let's do another one here. We're just trying to get Barry's up and running here, so we'll look at a few more cars before we get back into that.
This one's a full-on drag car. Again, I believe it's a local car. It's a '99 Probe, I believe. Ford Probe. This is a mostly fiberglass.
Yeah, we'll just move it over a little bit. We've got a little bit of a glare there. There we go. That's cool. Good. It's got a big Ford logo on the front there, I think, right?
Ford Probe.
Gives it away.
Yeah, it's not the same car that your wife takes for grocery getting.
No, it's not. That's the thing. You see a lot with a lot of the drag racing cars. It's not what you anticipate that they would build, like the Probes and that they'd be building these dragsters out of. But a lot of different body styles going down the strip these days.
There is, and you know, Regina, you wouldn't think has a lot of drag cars, but there are some very serious drag cars built in Regina that go to a lot of places and get professionally raced. It's really quite incredible.
Yeah, we actually had a caller last week asking about why Regina doesn't have a drag strip, and I'm originally from Saskatoon. I moved here about 3 years ago, and you know, I had the luxury of SIR up there, and we got to go to a lot of races. And I don't know, is that something that ever came up with you guys? I mean, were you part of that? It looks like, Dave, yes, that was in fact the case.
Yes, well, it was, for me, it was a big part of my job 25 years ago, trying to get a drag strip going with the city. And we actually formed an association, a very large association, the Queen City Drag Racing Association.
Right.
And we had land and the whole thing set up, and just financing, it was just the financing and getting the sponsors and the interest, and just couldn't get it going. And about 3 years ago, a bunch of guys tried to get it going again. They ran into the same problems. Mr. Knight was involved in it at that time,
right.
And it just ran into the same problems.
It's tough, you know. I had watched a couple of weeks ago from Vegas. They had Bruton Smith's brand new speedway there, and I mean, he spent $10 million. It wouldn't be on the same scale. You know, you wouldn't need as much grandstand, but you still have to lay down that length of pavement, and it's not just the quarter mile. You have to go because there's got to be overrun and everything else, and it's just a big undertaking to try and accomplish that, I would imagine.
Well, when we got into it 25 years ago, we had actually designed it to be something like the one in Edmonton, with a complete drag strip, a sports car racing track. It had the whole 9 yards. I mean, we had a model built, everything. We went that far. The soil testing was done. You know, it was that far, but it just coming up with the money. And back 25 years ago, it was $1 million. So
yeah, that's the thing,
you know,
right?
So you figure it out now.
Figure that now,
Yeah.
exactly. That's it's going to be a bit. So, but let's get into some more of these great-looking cars. This looks like it's been in a show or two, I think.
This one actually is a local car. It was in the show last year. It was a fresh car last year.
Oh, I remember this one, yeah.
Yeah, it was totaled on the racetrack. It's a full-on race car. It's a 55 Chevy, but it's a 2/3 55 Chevy.
Oh, really? Okay, it's a little shorter in the front.
A little shorter everywhere.
Yeah.
He made the whole car 2/3.
Yeah.
And he flipped it and totally destroyed it and rebuilt it all again. It has flip-flop paint. It's on a turntable. As it goes around, it changes colors.
It's got the DuPont Chrome Illusion, I think, is what it's on there, right?
Yeah. And it's a fabulous piece. This car is just a showstopper, and very quick.
Yeah, and very quick, exactly. For the folks that maybe don't know, we were just talking about the paint. What happens, and like you said, it's on the turntable as well. As the car spins, if you stand in the same location, the color, and I think there's 4 or 5. Jeff Gordon had it on one of his NASCAR cars a couple of years ago. I think that there's 4 actual colors that come out. It's just awesome paint. There was a couple there last year, I think, that had the Chrome Illusion paint.
Yeah, this one was the most outstanding one, but there is other ones that do it. This one goes gold, blue, green. I think a little bit of red. It's just phenomenal, the different colors that it actually will turn.
It was great, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, this one looks like it would fall into the antique class, yes?
Yes,
Am I getting a little better?
We're going exactly the opposite direction now.
Okay. of the way we were before,
There we go.
exactly.
Milt can tell you about this one.
This one's a 31 Chevy four-door. It's all original. It's in very, very nice condition.
Again, the time it takes, you know, we had done a Barry's Automotive Adventure with yourself, Dave. The time it takes to put something like this one together. I mean, the guys working on their hot rods, maybe it's not a 2-3 year excursion, but on something like this, it depends the state you find it in.
Well, this one here would take just as long to build as a street rod. When you try to find, you know, original parts, you have to search them down. It takes a considerable amount of time to, you know, refurbish them back to original running condition. Authenticity is a big concern as well with an antique. I would say there's just as much time invested in building a car like this as
Yeah,
a
definitely.
street rod as well.
And right from the frame up, on a lot of these, I would imagine, everything comes up and they start from the
Definitely.
ground.
In fact,
right?
most of the cars in our show are built from the ground up.
I bought mine. Oh, no, wait, that's different, right? That's a little different anyway.
Somebody had to build it.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody built it along the way. Something that's always intrigued me on the one that we were just looking at, we don't have to put it back up, the tires that are on there, where would a person go to find those older style tires that are going to go on those antique cars?
Well, you can get them from actually a lot of dealers. We'll bring them in special order for you. George Moyer is a place in, I should say, Edmonton, that does stock. That's his line. There are quite a few different dealers that will simply find you tires. You can also see some dealers that are in our car show. They will have them on display as
Right.
well. So there's all kinds of parts and, you know, different services available that you
think-
could search that out.
If I remember correctly, there's been a gentleman that does chroming, or at least he's had a lot of chrome items there. That's part of the show as well, right? And the guys that do the restoration. So if someone's there with a car or that has that car sitting in the backyard, they have an idea of who to go to get some things done, like chroming.
Well, not only do we have vehicles, but we also have dealers with car-related parts. And,
Right.
you know, obviously they go hand in hand.
Exactly.
Because they have the crowd of the car owners. They're always looking for different things as well.
Exactly. Let's talk a little bit about the model car contest. That's a part of the show as well, and actually it doesn't take up a lot of space, but you know, they're smaller cars, so that's why it doesn't take up a lot of space. But it always seems to be really popular, especially with a lot of the younger kids. They kind of go to that, and we've been having some footage in the last little while. We had the Batmobile and all the different things that fall into that. And there's actually a contest that goes on for that model.
We have the
building?
Regina Scale Modelers again this year, and like you say, it does bring the younger crowd to the models. But
Right.
usually most of the models is built by older people.
Right.
Again, it's another venue of, you know, cars, or interests in cars. But we have, you know, cars built by people of all ages.
It's just great. I mean, and it's not just cars. There's a little bit of everything in that model building contest, isn't there?
There is. It's vehicles of all sorts, and, you know, from Army vehicles to planes to off-road to just anything.
A little
actually.
bit of everything, yeah, exactly. I remember seeing, I don't even remember what it was, but it was just some bizarre, and some remote control, radio control in there, I think a little bit as well, right?
Dioramas.
Right, a little bit of everything. Race machines in the show too. Let's put up this one while we're talking
you want
about
to
it.
put up this
Well, sure, we want to put up that one.
I
I know.
why.
Well, because he's a buddy of ours, and he's going to be part of our display at the show, so we might as well talk about Glenn a little bit. The world's fastest propane car. Look at that, they even had to use different colors on each of the letters. But there are lots of race machines that are going to be at the show again this year.
Yes, we have we have quite an array of drag cars this year, which we're pleased about. Some years, again, we hardly get any.
Right.
This year happens to be a good year for race cars. We're very pleased that Glenn's coming in with his car again, and he's done some changes to it, new paint and some other things to it, and it's a really good-looking car as well as being the world's fastest propane car.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I like the body style on this one, and Glenn always keeps it in such great shape. And as I had mentioned, we're going to have the WBM racing machine down there as well, and us from In Gear. So we look forward to that. And Glenn, if you're watching, make sure your car's nice and shiny, because I don't want to not too shiny though. I don't want you to make me look bad having a shinier car than me. Let's take a look at one more picture, and then we'll start to take some calls as well. 565-5376, folks. If you've got some questions for Milt and company here on the panel tonight, give us a call. Let's take a look at one more, though, here.
This car is a 41 Cadillac. It's owned by the president of the Regina Antique Car Club. This will be in the show. The neat thing about this car is it's not only the fact it's very rare, but he actually hand-built a number of parts, as you were talking about trying to find parts.
Right.
But with street rods, if we can't find it, we sometimes go around it or make it. In the case of antiques, you want to try and get everything authentic. And some of the trim parts on this car he couldn't find, and he made them, and you can't tell them from original. He did a wonderful job in this car.
A ton of work. Things like around the lights and those types of things?
Like the stripe pieces on the fenders.
Right, okay.
He made those. He made the fender skirts, and I mean, they're perfect. I mean, they're just like the originals. Did a wonderful job.
You know, like you said, a lot of guys, and I'm sure yourself included, gentlemen, just heart and soul into the cars that they put together, isn't it? Just a ton of work and a ton of time, but very nice. Again, folks, if you've got some questions for Dave or Milt or myself, we can talk a little bit about racing if you want to do that. But let's talk cars, and let's talk about the Majestics Car Show. So give us a call, 565-5376. And it looks like we've got a nice convertible there up next on the pile, so we're going to take a look at that one. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one?
Well, this is a Cuda convertible. Again, it's sort of a bit of a street machine and a bit of a classic. This is, you know, a total restoration, but it would still sort of fall in the street machine category because of its horsepower and the way it was built. If you watch Nash Bridges on another channel,
yeah.
this is the same car, different color.
Yeah.
And this is a beautiful car that we're looking forward to seeing. We've got quite a Chrysler contingent this year. If you're a Chrysler fan, we have quite a few Chrysler products of different kinds in the show this year.
Well, yeah, I maybe know a couple of Mopar fans, maybe.
Do you think you might?
Yeah, a couple anyway. My brother had a nice old Cuda like that. Unfortunately, he never got a chance to fix it back up, but great cars. This one looks kind of cool. This is a little different.
This is a little different. This is a dirt puller. This is one of what they call, you watch them on TV, where they go out and they pull the sleds through the dirt thing. This is, you know, like 1,000 horsepower in a little truck that's been elongated. The picture is a little dark in the back, but it's probably been lengthened about another 6 feet over its original length. And they hook the big sleds on, and away they go.
Yeah, those are cool machines. I've got a chance to do some announcing for some of the tractor pulls and the truck pulls and the mud bogs and that, and those are just fantastic vehicles. So I think people are going to be interested to see that one. What's underneath as well? There's a guy that got a ton of horsepower. So
well,
looks.
I actually have a picture of the
motor.
Well, there you go.
Sure, let's go
the motor
back
in that one.
And then we're going to get to a couple of calls. So let's take a look at the actual the mill that they've got underneath there. So not a lot of weight on that fiberglass body. So it looks like that might go down the track okay.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, they run on nitro and a blown motor, and they are just the same as you see on the drag strip. Only they're hooked to dirt track tires, pulling a dirt sled.
Exactly. All right, it looks like we have got a couple of calls, so we'll get to some more pictures a little later on. But for right now, let's go to our calls. Thanks for holding. You're on In Gear.
Hey there. I used to drive on my accent. Now I drive a diesel.
All right then. Well, we'll just forego that one because I'm not exactly sure what the question was there.
I'm not sure what the answer was either.
All right, then we're on the same page. Let's hope line 3 has a little bit better of a question. Good evening. You're on In Gear.
Hello. I have one quick question, please.
Sure.
As far as like some of the collectibles that are shown there, like did most of those cars come from stateside?
No, a lot of those cars are local, and what we mean by local, within about a 50-mile radius of Regina.
Some of them, the Hudson is from Edmonton. Some of these cars are from Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, and we've got a contingent coming from the States this year too of different cars.
I mean, you'll take them from everywhere, I would imagine.
Oh, sure.
That help?
No, but like I mean, like as far as like if initially getting these collectible cars.
Well, where they're found, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you talking about the collectibles out in front of me here?
No, actually, I'm not in front of a TV right now.
Oh, okay.
Banished to the porch, but.
Oh, you've been banished. Okay, well, that's no good.
I'm like just some of the older cars, like the 40s and the 50 cars.
You're asking where you find them?
Yeah, like the ones that are in original condition.
Okay.
Saskatchewan is a real hotbed for older vehicles. The prairie provinces, northern United States, there's still quite a few of the older vehicles out there.
If you're looking for something really old, you know, you have to get off the beaten path. Obviously, the crusher goes through, and you have to get out in the countryside. Up in the northern part of Saskatchewan, there's a lot of cars still tucked away in the bushes, a lot on farms.
But like you've always heard about people though going down to Arizona though and finding the perfect vehicle. Like, you know, it
Then
lasts down there for years.
you're going to pay the perfect price too when you find them down there now. Those days are sort of over. They're very high priced, anything that's down there.
Yeah. All right then.
All right, thank you very much for your call.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let's go to line 1. Nobody there, I don't think. The light went off. Hello, anybody there? Nope, we're going to go to line 2. Someone's there. Thanks for holding. You're on In Gear.
Hey there, I used to drive a Hyundai Accent. Now I drive a Toyota Tercel. How about that?
Okay.
How do you guys feel about foreign vehicles?
Foreign vehicles. I know that there's usually a contingent of the Hondas in that. They kind of stick together.
We have actually in the show this year we have a few Honda type vehicles. Whether they're all Hondas or not, I'm not sure.
Right.
But we do have a contingent of the young guys who spend lots of money. They tell me in these cars. Again, they modify the engines a lot. They do some body modifications, some interior modifications. They're not, I guess, something that Milt and I understand that much because we're into the old hot rods. But for the young guys who understand and can see the modifications, we're going to have a few in there that are highly modified, and the guys tell me they've spent $6,000–7,000 on them just in a week.
Oh, I know.
And I'm going.
There's some, like even down to the tires and the rims that they've got on some of those cars, so thin. They're just so very thin. It's like just one little slab of rubber, but that's part of it. And they lower them down and they do a lot to them.
Major sound systems, the souped up exhaust systems, all kinds of things done to the motor, and they gold plate everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm thinking, how do people this age can afford that? I don't know. But
well, that's what they do, though. But you know, we all kind of started the same way, a little bit, anyway. So, a little bit, not gold plating, but we all started fixing things up, though. So, looks like we've got another call. So let's go to line number 1. Thanks very much for holding. You're on In Gear.
Good evening. I was just wondering what you have to do to get into the Majestics, like how it works. That do you have to send in pictures, or what do you do?
In the car club, you mean, or?
Well, just for an average person that might have an old rail or an old car sitting in their garage that they want to put into Majestics, what do you do?
Well, actually, what we do, we have an entry process. You're thinking of entering the car show, is that what I believe?
Yeah, I think that's what she's after there, yeah.
We have a standard form that you can fill out, and we would certainly jury it with pictures, and everything is welcome as long as it's, you know, in show condition. That's what we're really looking for.
How do you get those entry forms?
Well, we advertise in the paper before the show. We have a mailing list of people who've been in the show that we mail out to. A lot of people will just phone us, come around that time, and Milt puts an ad in the paper every year under the old car section.
Special
interest vehicles, mentioning that the car show is coming up if you'd like to enter your car. So if you watch for that each year.
As well as we're in the phone book under the Majestics Car Club, and we do have an answering service, and you can just phone down there anytime, and we'd certainly get an entry form out to you.
And really all you have to do is you get the entry form. There is an entry fee, but again, that goes back into the proceeds that go to the charities and some of the prize money and things like that as well. And then you have to send a picture in as well, so you guys have something to judge the cars by, right?
I mean, we like we said earlier, we can take about 150 entries. We probably get 300, 400 applications at least a year, so that we have to, you know, pick and choose, and you know, and it's a very harrowing process for us because there's a lot of nice cars come that we'd like to be able to put in the show, but you can't have them all. So
exactly. Did that help, caller?
Yes. So you just watch the paper for the ad that says that you're having these entry forms, and
the show is the same time every year. So last weekend of April every year. If you just remember that, and about the middle of March, give us a call and we'll send you an entry form.
Okay, well, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night. All right, and I've been told that we've got a little bit of footage from the setup of the show. Again, gentlemen, we talked about, you know, your time is not just spent for those 2 days. You take a ton of time before, during, and after. Basically, Sunday comes around 5 o'clock, you start working on next year, I would imagine. Eh?
We have to book the building 1 year in advance, otherwise we just don't get the
Don't get
building.
the building,
So if we
yeah,
don't have the
exactly.
dates, it's hard to build a show. But the planning actually starts from that point on.
So we're just going to show a little bit of this, and hey, I know that guy. Oh my God, that's me. But basically, the guys roll in on Friday night and get their cars set up. Hey, there's my buddy Quentin trying to get his rail all nice and cleaned up as well. But you open it up, I think, about 12 noon on Friday. But that's really
No.
just
Three
for the
o'clock.
guys built. Oh, 3 o'clock
And
for
that's
the guys.
just for the guys that are, just for the entrance. It's not open to the public. We have special passes and security to make sure that only the folks that are bringing their cars in are actually in the building on Friday.
There's that great Lamborghini from last year.
Yeah.
It was parked across the way from me. But a ton of work. You know, a lot of the guys, you can see he's got a carpet underneath him, but I see the guys bringing in, you know, the checkered board to put down underneath, displays, the rock, the lights, everything.
Plants, trees.
One thing we've done this year, we've doubled our prize money for, you know, some nice displays. We encourage, you know, nice displays around the vehicles. It kind of adds to the venue of a car show.
And you can see all the cars getting pushed in. That's a big part of it, because you can't have the cars running while you're in the show. You can't have them. Basically, once they hit that front door, that's it. They don't start again until they leave.
For
Well,
liability reasons.
Right.
safety, liability, the pollution in the building. I mean, if you fired up, everybody drove in, the building would be, you know, you couldn't be able to breathe in there. So.
No, and I've never heard one start in there yet. So, I mean, if that's the case, you guys just shut them down, and I mean, if they can get out, they're gone.
They're gently pushed in too. We have people, car pushers, that have pushed quite a few vehicles before, so that, you know, everything is done in a safe fashion and non-threatening to your car.
It's got to be a ton of work for you guys to get these all in here. There's a gentleman who does a ton of work every year. I see him in there moving cars and telling me, hey, go this way, hey, go that way. So some of the Pro 4 guys from out of Kings Park, they've always got a nice display at the show as well, eh?
Yeah, actually the Stock Car Club is going to have a nice display this year. There's a separate contingent of a few Pro 4 guys that are doing their own little thing.
Right.
We have you with your car, with the
Right.
CAS cars. We have a couple of CAS cars coming in this year. So we've got quite a contingent as far as that type of race car goes too.
One of the most essential things to have at the car show, your California Duster, right?
Well, this building's pretty good. Our old building was really bad for that. In this building, the floor is treated, so it's not as bad.
No, exactly. But, you know, that's right in the application form. Your car has to look good all the time, and it's definitely got to stay up to a standard throughout the weekend, right?
That's usually not a problem. People that bring these cars in have a lot of pride, and they like to keep them washed for the public to view.
Exactly. All right, what we're going to do now is we are going to do our Auto World News. So, with that said, with impressive speed, skill, and accuracy, David Shaw and Ben Nunn from Tom Collegiate right here in Regina worked their way to a first-place finish at the 9th Annual CAA Ford Auto Skills Challenge held in Regina last Friday. Second-place honors went to Nathan Harris and Richard Karras of L.P. Miller Comprehensive High School in Nipawin. The competition involved 8 two-student teams representing Regina, Estevan, Prince Albert, Lloydminster, Pelly, Kamsack, and Nipawin, who raced against the clock to diagnose and repair deliberately disabled 2,000 Ford Tauruses. Speed, accuracy, and the quality of work, as well as written exams, were all part of the final judging. The winning team won a 2000 Ford Windstar van, awarded for the first time at a provincial competition courtesy of Ford Canada for their school's automotive technicians class, plus scholarships from CAA Saskatchewan and tools provided by Snap-on Tools of Canada. Just some of the prizes awarded once again to David Shaw and Ben Nunn from Tom Collegiate. So congratulations, guys, if you're watching, and if you know those two gentlemen, give them a big pat on the back. Honda boosts Insight hybrid availability. Honda says it will increase the availability of the Insight gasoline-electric hybrid car by more than 50% in the coming years. The Insight is the most fuel-efficient vehicle sold in North America. They have an EPA mileage rating of 61 miles per gallon city and 70 miles per gallon on the highway, and meets California's stringent ultra-low emissions standards. Consumer interest is high in these vehicles, and we should start to see them in Canada in the next couple of years. Couple of racing notes before we get back into it. Jeff Gordon took the checkered flag Sunday in the Die Hard 500 in Talladega at the Superspeedway there and earned his 50th NASCAR victory in doing so. Gordon broke a 13-race winless streak and became the 9th different driver to win a race in 9 races this year on the NASCAR circuit. Dale Earnhardt finished 3rd, followed by Kenny Irwin and Jimmy Spencer. Mark Martin, Terry Labonte, Sterling Marlin, Kyle Petty, Ward Burton rounded out the top 10, and in 2nd place it was Mike Skinner, his best finish in a NASCAR race. One more quick racing story. Paul Tracy, the Canadian, pulled away to win Sunday's running of the Kart Grand Prix of Long Beach. Tracy rallied from 17th at the start to earn his 16th victory in his career. It was the farthest back for a winner on a temporary street circuit since Al Unser Jr. won from the 19th position in the 1986 Miami Grand Prix. Helio Castroneves finished 2nd, just a half-car length ahead of 1996 Long Beach winner Jimmy Vasser. Castroneves matched his career-best kart finish, crossing the line 3.191 seconds behind the Canadian Tracy. Rookie Alex Tagliani, also of Canada, placed a career-best 4th, followed by Brian Herta, Oriol Servia, and pole sitter Jill DeFerrin. That is it for Auto World News for this evening. You know, the NASCAR guys are a lot easier to say their names than it is the kart guys. And it looks like we've got a call on line 1. Good evening and welcome to In Gear, caller.
Well, thank you very much. How's everything going out there?
Out there? What do you mean out there?
Well, as a matter of fact, I wanted to call in and say hi, Joey. It's your old hubby calling. It's Garth.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. How's Calgary?
Absolutely wonderful.
The weather?
Ducky.
Here, too.
Actually, Randy called me to let me know that you guys were talking about the Majestic show tonight.
Yes, we are. So we've got Dave and Milt here this evening. We're going to try and promote it, and of course we've got the show in a couple of weeks. You guys know Garth, don't you?
Oh, yes.
How you doing, Milt?
Fine.
Good. Well, I wanted to call in and wish you guys all the best with the Majestic show for year 2000, and make sure you got lots of those little donuts there, because we always like to see those things.
The mini donuts.
We appreciate that, and we will have some. You better come back down and see the show this year. It's going to be great.
Well, we don't know if we're going to be able to make it out or not, but we certainly wanted to call in and wish everybody all the best.
Thanks very much, buddy.
And, you know, Joey, before I slide away here,
yes.
I don't know if your viewing audience is aware of this or not, but you know that sexy little producer guy in the control room there?
Yeah.
Did you know that he is up for an award?
I was not aware of that. What's he up for?
He is up for a real big-time cable award. He's going to be going out to the Yorkton Film Festival here, which is actually a huge film festival. That's only about 2 weeks away, so I wanted to take an opportunity to wish Randy all the best there, too.
Attaboy. You know, well, I mean, if he can make me look good, man, he's got to be doing something right.
Hey, he made me look good for 3 months. That's a hard thing to do.
There you go.
Hey, Joey, take care, man. All the best with the show. I hear everything's going absolutely wonderful.
It's been going well so far, and we're going to even try and get a little test drive in there tonight, so you're still with us, pal.
Right on, man.
All right.
You take care.
Take care, bud.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So we shipped him off to Calgary, but we're going to get him back every once in a while anyway. So.
Well, that's good. We miss him.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get into some more cars. This one I've seen before driving around on the street. This is a great looking car. It's a flat color, but I like it though.
This is a great car. This is a young fella who actually did this car. Well, he's getting a little older now, but he received that car from his parents for his 16th birthday as sort of a Hulk.
Right.
And he started working on it, and he did all the work on it himself with help from his dad and his brother. And it's a really neat car. It's a 53 or 54 Pontiac, two-door sedan. It's got an overhead cam Pontiac 6 in it, manual transmission. And you see his license plate, it says BRAP, and that's what it sounds like when he steps on it.
Exactly.
It's a super little car. It's going to be in the show this year.
Nice little flames on there as well.
Yeah.
That's his daily driver in the summer.
Yeah, I've seen it around. I think
When
they're up in the northwest.
snow leaves, it's out.
He drove that car all the way down to the Salt Flats in.
Oh, right, yes. Actually, I think I've heard that. That's
Yep.
true. Just a great car. We'll put another one up, folks. We do want to remind you, though, we got a little bit of time for a few more calls, so 565-5376. If you've got some more questions about the Majestics Car Show, give us a call, please. But let's get back to some more, some of the pictures here. That is a beautiful little car.
This is a 39 Buick. It's out of Assiniboia. It is a beautiful, beautiful car. This fellow belongs to the club that won our giveaway trailer last year. We gave away a trailer on behalf of the Heart and Stroke folks, and the trailer's now been painted to match this car. It'll be coming back with this car to the show, and this is just a beauty. This one.
That's a great looking vehicle. I mean, all of them in the show are going to be great, but I love the red. The red looks good with all the chrome, and the front end is a little different on that one. I like that. So.
Yeah, it's a GM, but it's a little bit different because it's the Buick.
Exactly. We'll put another one up, and we'll get to that in a second. Well, no, you can put it up there. That's okay, Dave.
I got one here that you want to see.
We'll get to that one, but we've got another call though. So let's do this, and then we'll get into that because that looks pretty interesting. I like that. So exactly. Thank you very much for holding. You're on In Gear.
Gentlemen, how are you tonight?
Not bad. Yourself?
Great, thanks.
Good.
I just wanted to say, last year I had the opportunity. I know you guys picked, cars in a different ratio on how they look and everything else, but you guys let me into the Majestics at the car show for an old Econo rail I had, and I had bought it from about 3 blocks from my house, and I was looking for the past history on this thing. And I traced it all the way down over the last year from the people I met at the Majestics, way down into the southern states. And I just wanted to thank you guys for the ability to have these people look at the car and be able to get me this information on it.
Well, it was our pleasure. That's the kind of thing we're looking for in the show is things that people don't normally see.
Well, and that's just it, because I never would have been able to trace this. The internet's a big thing and the whole web deal, but I never would have been able to without the human contact from the people who had seen the thing race originally, and I actually met one of the guys who raced against it.
Really?
Yeah, and that was a number of years ago, I think, right?
Yes, it was. It was back in the early 50s.
That car is worth quite a bit of money now as a collector item.
Oh. But
this is sort of the Antiques Roadshow for cars, but no.
In fact, we're not even kind of looking at selling it. We would like to restore it even farther than it was at the Majestics and take it right back to original, just because it's such a classic.
There's a real collector's thing going on in the States now for old race cars like that, and fellas trying to restore them, and they've become quite valuable again.
Well, and you don't run across them at garage sales anymore.
No, you don't.
Not often.
Thanks for your time, and thank you very much for the opportunity last year.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling. All right, we've got another call as well, so let's get right to that, and then we'll get to some more pictures. Thank you for holding. You're on In Gear.
Yeah, hello tonight.
How are you?
Your interesting show here.
Thank you very much.
I'm just wondering, like in the past, I noticed that there was an antique car swap meet in conjunction, or at least at the same time as the Majestics Car Show. Is that going to happen again this year?
Yes, it is. It runs the same as ours. It's the building just adjacent to ours.
Not this year. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, they didn't get that building. They're going to be on the grounds. They're going to be in the Agribition building this year. It's done by the Regina Antique Auto Association, but they're still there, but they're just going to be a little bit farther away.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I was talking to a friend from work today, and he said he's been in there, and guys have got everything and anything in that thing, like owner's manuals for a '63 Ford truck, and everything and anything you need.
There's always a treasure at a swap meet.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now let's take a look at this beautiful orange. I think it's a truck. It looks like a truck. Yeah, it's a truck.
And it's yellow.
And it's yellow. Oh, yeah, orange. Jeez. Well, yeah. Well, you didn't have to tell them. I guess they're going to see. All right.
It's your average 95
yeah, your average Chevy truck, right?
Yeah. Your old farm truck gone bad.
Yeah.
This one's out of Alberta. It's obviously a show truck, but it will crush cars. We have a picture of it going over some cars that he was crushing at the grand opening of a tire store.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's something he zips around in, but it's basically built for shows, and we're quite pleased to see it.
I know why the bed's going up, but explain to maybe some that don't. It's the hydraulics in the back, and the guys do a lot of stuff with hydraulics, especially on the trucks. You see the beds and the noses and everything coming up on them.
Well, they do it for show, for looks, but also to get at the parts, because these things break a lot when you're going over cars, so you wanted to get it so you can get at it.
Exactly. This is a nice vehicle as well. This probably falls into more of the ones that you two like, a little bit anyway.
Well, getting down into the age, this is more of a classic. It's a 55 Studebaker. It's just been freshly built. It's going to be placed on a turntable for our show.
Right.
So it'll be actually quite spectacular to see it going around and around, but it's very well done again. Right back to authenticity. I don't know if the colors are totally true original, but
they're nice though. It's a nice combination, and then the big white walls too. I love seeing the big white walls on the cars. You had mentioned the turntable. A lot of times mirrors underneath as well, because guys spend almost as much time fixing up the underneath as they do under the hood and on the interior and everything.
It's really sad that you don't see a lot of the undercarriages on these vehicles, because they are usually just as clean as the top.
Exactly. Nice old pony there. that's going to be in the show. These are all cars, by the way, folks, that are going to be in the show. These are specific entries for this year, so
these are examples.
you're going to get to see these these ones full and live. We've just got the pictures for right now, but
This one's a 65 Mustang Shelby GT. Again, quite rare. In very immaculate condition.
yeah, it looks like
built
it's in great
built
shape.
very nice.
Is that from an entry around here? Do you know offhand, or is that coming from somewhere? Haven't seen that one out on the road, I guess, is
No,
what
no,
I'm
it's,
asking,
you don't
so.
see these on the road very often. It's this is very valuable. I'm not sure. It's not.
It is local.
Is it local?
Is it? So that's great. Hopefully we'll get to see that.
So
out
many
around.
cars, so little memory.
I know. No, that's not what I was saying. That's not what I was saying. So we've got 1 year of Mustang, then we've got another year of Mustang as
And
well.
this is a fresh car too.
Yeah, that one's kind of a new build for this year.
Yep.
71.
The 71 Mach Boss 351. I think this one is, isn't it?
It is. This one here is, like you say, very fresh, but it was also found in extremely good condition.
Really? Yeah, that's a big part of it.
This one is a real low mileage vehicle, so you know the amount of work that would go into it would basically freshen up the paint and you know, clean up the interior, and I think everything was intact in this car.
That's nice. I mean, there's the guys out there that I think you can go in either direction. You can look for the older one that you start from the ground up and finish it that way. But even that caller earlier on, maybe they didn't have the time. Maybe they don't have, you know, as much time and money, because money's involved as well, to take it from the ground up. But they still want to have that classic car. So there's options for both, I would imagine.
You can find vehicles at any state of building. It can be near the finish. It can be right at the beginning. You know, it can be half done.
Right.
Depending on how much money you have to put into it is where you really can start from.
Exactly. It really makes it just the personal preference of whoever's going to be doing it. Like, what's the oldest vehicle you've brought back from the ground up, Dave? Can we get into
20s.
that? 20s, yeah.
20s.
And did you find that one out there somewhere and started from the ground, or?
Well, actually, I found it in, I guess when I was about 16 or 15 or 16, and it had been an old hot rod, and it was just a body and frame, and sort of went from there. It never got that far. It made it onto the street, but I think if I had it in the street today and the police saw it, I would have been in jail forever. But
That'd be it,
that was the first one and the oldest one. But
yeah. And Milt, yourself, what's the I mean, not even the oldest, but what's been the most work, I guess? Have you done
Actually,
a few?
my 32 Ford has probably been the most work, but I do have a 45 Fargo that goes back the furthest. It's been on the street for 21 years.
Really, that's great.
It's gone through my driving. It's gone through my two daughters as well.
Really?
And now my son is just into driving, so I'm kind of hoping that he will, you know, exercise the opportunity and using it for a year or two as well.
So do the kids get to take their pick of Dad's car to drive, or is it, okay, you guys get to drive this one today, and you don't get to drive this one?
Well, we've been very fortunate, and they have their own vehicles for certain
that's
reasons.
That helps too, huh? Let's talk about the club a little bit. We discussed earlier, 25 members in the club. Is that what we limited to?
It is a closed club at 25 members, yes.
And what are some of the specifications, I guess, for getting in? That's probably not the right
What
word,
we're
but-
really interested in, we do limit it to 25, but you have to own a car that's, I should say, a vehicle 48 or older.
A vehicle, right? Because it's
Right.
cars, trucks as well,
Cars,
right?
trucks,
Yep.
and you have to have a genuine interest in salvaging and placing vehicles back on the road, and putting an effort into club activities like working at charity events, raising money for charities and
car show.
And the car show, and working at the
shows,
car
doing
show
car
and helping
shows
put the
and-
car show together.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've got a couple more pictures. Let's get to another one. It looks like a
This is
Thunderbird.
one
I know
more.
some.
No, actually it isn't.
Oh, well, I said I know some. I don't know them all.
That one's a 64 Fairlane
okay.
restoration. As Milt said earlier, we have a number of clubs coming in this year. The Corvette Club is coming in with a bunch of beautiful Corvettes this year, different ones than they had last year. Last year they did everything in yellow, I believe, like a sunflower.
Right.
This year they're doing them different colors. They always have a plan. The Ford Mercury Club is coming in mass. This is one of theirs. They have quite a few entries in. The Northside Gang, which is another hot rod club, and that's where that purple car, they've got quite a few cars coming into the show. We have the Volkswagen Club.
Boy Club.
Yeah, the
Southern
VW Club. I've
Cruisers,
seen
yeah.
them there as well the last couple of years.
They're coming
so.
in with everything from a radical bug that's just gorgeous to stone stock. You know, they're going to make a nice presence. So we're getting quite a few clubs this year, which we're pleased to see. But as Milt said, we raised the ante as far as prize money goes for club display and that, and we think that's what helped.
Exactly. We talked about the model contest. That's part of the show, and these aren't exactly models, but I got a chance, pardon me, to bring down a couple more of Joanne's, and I make it perfectly clear that they're not mine, that they're my girlfriend's, and she lets me carefully take them out of the house. Die-cast models, but this is a brand new one that we just got. It's Darrell Waltrip's Victory Tour 2000, and some great detail on these. And I don't know, do you guys get into these? Do you get into these collectibles at all, or you want to play with the full-size cars?
Oh no, we get into collectibles too, unfortunately.
A little bit of everything, but this one's got some really great detail. Hey, look, flames. Flames are coming back, I'm telling you. Flames are good. But this has lots of detail. You can see even right down to the roof flaps, if I can get it in the right spot. There we go. Hopefully those don't come up very often, because if they do, then you're going backwards and you're going way too fast. But the trunk, I don't have roof flaps on my car because I don't need to go that fast. But even underneath, there's some great detail underneath. And some of the models as well that are in the show get done to this extent as well. We'll move on down to the bike, but you know, as we said, that's a part of the show, and a very popular one as well.
They're of all classes too. You have some models that are basic kits for the younger people, but some of the older, more experienced modelers, they actually hand form and build these from scratch, from flat sheets of plastic right into cars that you just don't have models for.
Some specific models maybe that they never actually built one, like Rebel never really built one or anything like that. So these guys are building them.
They create them themselves, which is quite
great.
Unique.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got the great Harley Davidson folks coming up in probably 2 or 3 weeks. I've got the folks from Prairie Motorcycle are going to be coming down on the show, so a little preview. We're going to have a big full-size bike on the show, but they've got a great Harley ride coming up, and I believe that is in May. So we're going to have the folks on, so a little bit of a preview. And then we also brought the Buckshot Jones Pontiac, just because it's also a really nice looking car. It's got some funky metallic paint on it as well. So, but thanks, Joanne, for letting me bring the cars tonight. Gentlemen, we don't have a lot of time left. When again is the show?
Next weekend on April 29th and 30th. Times are from 10 in the morning on Saturday till 11 at night, and 10 in the morning Sunday till 5 at night. Canada Centre Building, Regina Exhibition Park.
If you come in the morning and maybe you want to go for you want to go home and have a lunch and come back, you can always do that as well with a stamp, right?
We do have a hand stamp, but it's only good for the one day, and next day you would have to
come back in again. But that's okay. But again, we talked about that, and a lot of it is going to go to charity. I mean, there's certain things that you have to hold back to run that show every year and put that show on, but most of it goes back out to the charities that you guys help.
Yep.
I think we've looked at all the pictures of the cars.
Are we going to get to see Barry riding a Harley?
I don't know if we're going to get to see Barry riding a Harley.
Now that would make a show.
He's going to be down there, though. Yeah, but you could just see him hanging on to the handlebars and kind of flapping around in the wind.
I can see that, yes.
Exactly. I think people have seen some great examples of some of the cars that are going to be there, but there's lots of others as well. We've only gone through some, and again, 150 or so cars.
We're very pleased this year. Very pleased.
It's going to be very great. Thank you very much for being on the show tonight. Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Look for your folks at the Majestics Car Show. Folks, come see us at Boston Pizza. Christopher Riley, go to bed. Folks, next Thursday here.
In Gear is brought to you in part by Boston Pizza. Come and get it all. And Kings Park Speedway. We're kicking asphalt.
You're interested in seeing some exciting debating on some important social issues, then I'd like to invite you to watch Debate 2000. Hello, I'm Colleen Yanish, the Executive Director of the Saskatchewan Elocution and Debate Association. And I'd like to invite you to watch Debate 2000, where some of the brightest young students across southern Saskatchewan will come together to debate some very important issues facing young people today.
Is running from the province. This does not solve it.
That's Debate 2000, right here on Channel 7.
Got all that great technology, nothing but the best. Blended together, nice and smooth. Now, let's see how it turns out. Access Communications.
You've known us as Cable Regina, but we're more than just cable. Leading the way in entertainment, telecommunications, and internet technology. And with service in the Yorkton, Estevan, and Weyburn regions, we're more than just Regina. Access Communications, providing total access to your world.
The theme of the 10th annual Vital Link Dinner, A Toast to Volunteers, reflects the value and commitment of volunteers in our community. Each day, thousands of people give of themselves to make Regina the wonderful community we share. Since 1991, the Vital Link Dinner has been joined by the Mayor's Community Volunteer Awards Program. This program recognizes Regina volunteers whose outstanding contributions enhance the quality of life in our community. I'm Gersh Madher. Join us now on location as we celebrate the achievements of the many organizations and volunteers in Regina.
Your Worship, members of City Council and volunteers, on behalf of the United Way of Regina, welcome to the 10th annual Vital Link Dinner. The Vital Link Dinner is an opportunity to thank those who give their time, energy, and talent to others and their community without asking for anything in return. It's a time to celebrate volunteers who are the vital link between community organizations and the people they serve. Some discover volunteerism while searching for a way to meet new people or gain new experiences. Volunteering can be a family tradition passed on by generations that knew the importance of giving a helping hand. Others volunteer because they experience an act of kindness in a time of need. No matter how it's discovered, volunteerism is a matter of the heart. The passion and determination of volunteers has driven the United Way of Regina for 65 years, because we believe that when we take care of each other and work together, we grow stronger as a community. A significant role of the United Way is to support the community through volunteer fundraising efforts, but the support doesn't end there. Through Volunteer Regina, the United Way provides training and development opportunities for volunteers and organizations they serve. We also provide the community table around which business, government, and labor work with volunteers from community-based organizations, such as many of you here tonight, to address some of the most pressing issues in our neighborhoods. We are developing opportunities for young people to learn about volunteerism and community leadership through the United Wave campaign or program. The United